upper end with a screwdriver.
Hi guys, it's been a few days, but as you can see, the engine is out. Had a little bit of problem. I initially was going to take the gearbox out, but because we're using a standing frame that can't be moved, it turned out to be a little bit difficult to move the car while the engine and gearbox was disconnected. It's a newbie error, I suppose. So yeah, we disconnected the bell housing and lifted the engine out. The engine's now free, and now we get rid of the car, start to focus on breaking down the engine, having a look. Also probably do a compression test before taking it apart too much. Anyway, keep watching. As you can see, the engine's pretty much been stripped. The top end been stripped off, the heads are off, and timing gear cover. Interesting thing about the Studi engines is, of course, the gears, no chain, and this top gear is basically plastic. It's a Bakelite phenolic sort of plastic stuff. So that'll probably get replaced with aluminium, but it is amazing the quality. I don't know how old this particular gear is. I was told when I bought the engine, when I bought the car, that it had been rebuilt, and I've had the car for nearly 10 years, and I gather maybe sort of perhaps 8 or 10 years before that. So I reckon it's probably perhaps, let's say, 15 years it had some sort of rebuild, and as all you guys know, rebuild means many different things to different people. It can mean that they sort of they replaced some gaskets and gave it a bit of a freshen up, or it can mean a full tear down and machining and start from scratch. So I don't know what this had done, but I would imagine in the last 15 years it's probably only done something like 10,000 miles, would be my guess, because it wasn't used very much in the years before I bought it. And he told me that it hadn't done many miles or kilometers since he'd had it rebuilt. So I'm imagining it really hasn't got many miles under it. So the surfaces all look fairly good so far. I'm going to get an expert to come and have a look, but so far the inside of the rings all look pretty good. There's no real lips or grooves. Everything's fairly nice. Over here you can see the heads. The heads, you can hear maybe in the background, that's our donkey. The heads are pretty good. Again, if I lift up these are heavy heads. Anyone who's worked on a Studi engine will know these are really heavy. But yeah, look, you can see the valves also under here. There's a build-up of carbon, but they're really pretty fresh. They really look pretty decent. I'm told that it's typically in between, in here is where you'll often see the first signs. These look pretty good. So I'm gonna have somebody have a good look, check it out, and tell me what they think. I'm gonna try and get out with as little machining as possible. As I mentioned before, there was a slight sound in the engine, not a knock, not really like a valve or a piston knock. It was something else, but the guy that suggested to take the engine apart, he actually suggested that he's seen these sort of gears before. Sometimes you'll have a little break, a tiny little break, and if the piece gets wedged in as the engine turns, there's a slight sort of roughness to it, and there's this sort of sound that was coming through there. He suggested could be related to that. So yeah, not going to get it done today, but got to pull this gear off, take the cam out and have a look, and then we'll take it from there. So yeah, everything's stripped, everything's kind of ready to go, and I'll keep you updated. One of the other issues I've got to deal with is the paint. You can see from from 5 foot. I'm 5 foot away. It actually looks pretty good, and it's always got lots of good comments. But I'm going to come up close. I don't know if you can see. There's some crazing in the paint, and on other parts of the body, it's actually split and peeling. So I'm looking at probably having to strip it back to metal. I believe most of the metal on the car is good, but stripping it down will certainly tell. So I was hoping that I might be able to just rub the colour back and keep the undercoat, but no, I've been assured that that's not a good thing to do. So it looks like it's going to be back to metal for the car, and as always, these type of things sort of snowball. So yeah, so up on the roof, you can see the paint starting to crack. And there's actually a nice big patch in the middle of the roof where the paint's just peeled off. The undercoat underneath is pretty good, but I had a little sand on the corner just to see if I could smooth it out and what was underneath. And yeah, I've been reliably told that really the only thing to do in this case is to strip it back. So it'll be coming back to metal, and the job will be bigger than it was originally. You can see there's still a decent shine on it, but you can also see that there's little chips, and it's going to give me a chance to fix up other things that I haven't liked, like this panel here. There's no rust, it's fairly solid all along the bottom, but this panel, you can see it's sticking out. It just needs to be pulled in. There's a few little things like that. The other thing I'm debating is there's a lovely piece of chrome that goes around here, and I've seen cars that have had them taken off, removed, and I actually don't mind them. It's about $1,000, I believe, for a set. So I'm debating on whether to, if I'm painting the car, I can fill up these holes and just paint it without. I still think it looks pretty good. It's got a nice line of chrome right down the center. But one of the things with these Studebakers is, particularly for a 1960s American car, it was fairly understated. It was almost a little bit more like a European design car. There's chrome on the front, but it's not really heavy, and it's sort of quite delicate and refined chrome work down the side, which is one of the things I love about these cars. But yeah, a few little body things that I'll be looking at trying to do something with, and just freshen this little baby up, get things looking good again. So I'll keep you posted.